What's up, niggas and niggettes? Today, Conscious Speculation here, and we got Poppy again. Now, right now, we are gonna go over this Doggy Diamonds interview. Shout out to Doggy Diamonds. We're gonna look at this interview, and I'm gonna show y'all some fraud behavior, a little suspicious shit. So just hang in there, and let's watch this. Sit back, relax, let's get it. Oh yeah, and by the way, there will be no malice in this video. We're not gonna be bullying anybody. We're gonna be just observing the situation and seeing what we can learn from it. And everything this nigga says is not incorrect. I agree with a lot of what this nigga says. Whenever I agree with him, you will see me say correct. I will have a little thing come up that says correct, so y'all will know this is not just a straight bash. This is just an honest speculation. Oh, and by the way, there is going to be some graphic material in this video, so be prepared for that, and let's get it.
It was all three of us. Bam just had us like in a room having a boy orgy.
Wow.
3 little boys at one time, and it was me, Tafiq's little brother, and the other brother.
So, all right, when this is taking place, when do you realize you're a victim? Because, you know, some people might say, so why the fuck you went back if it happened one time? When do you realize you're being victimized?
Now, just to let y'all know right here, he is about to deflect. He is about to change the narrative, change the question. He is about to say what he wants to say rather than the flat out truth. Now, continue.
One time, when do you realize you're being victimized here?
All right, so let me break something down to you.
Okay.
Make people understand something. What made it easy for Bam to do what he did to me, because Bam wasn't the first one to molested me. We clear?
Yeah, we good.
Bam wasn't the first one to molest me, so it was just like open season when he came along because I was already broken in.
Okay.
And then you have to keep in mind too, with Bambaataa, he comes along, a hip-hop pioneer in Bronx River, legendary status, and then he's coming along in a time where the black community was plagued with dope and crack. That was a heavy time and a heavy era. So, you know, most of the people in the projects were strung out. Not to say my moms were strung out, but a lot of people were strung out.
Now, did y'all hear what he just said? He said his mama wasn't strung out on crack. That was other people's mamas. Now, I need y'all to note that and keep it in the back of your head. Now, continue.
People were strung out. So it made it easy for Bam to be a prey over the youth in the projects.
Now, if you noticed, the nigga didn't even answer the goddamn question. The question was, why did you keep going back to the nigga house? When did you realize that this shit wasn't normal? It's not normal for you to be going back over to this nigga house and getting molested. When did you realize that that wasn't normal? People are asking this question because it's very suspicious that this nigga would be going back to the nigga house that molested him. Now, instead of answering the question, he said some old guilt shit trying to get niggas to feel sorry for him. He said everybody was on crack and strung out, so nobody knew what to do. Keep in mind, he said his mama was cool. His mama wasn't on crack. So just get the picture. I want y'all to get the picture, and let's continue.
So you looked at it as a place of like a covering for you, but this is what was taking place when you was going there.
Now, Doggy confirmed it. This nigga was using Bambaataa as a covering of sorts to get away from his mama, I guess. So we need to realize that this isn't your average molestation case. Poppy likes to act like he is the prime example of child molestation when his situation is completely different. We can't lump Poppy in with your average molest situation. Now, let's continue.
My question was, when did you realize this shit ain't normal? Like, I ain't supposed to be coming here no more. Like, when did that hit you?
Honestly speaking, it been hit me from the first time.
Okay.
But at the same time.
So here, this nigga said some completely crazy shit. He said since the first time he got molested, it never hit him that he and Bam was doing something wrong. That means that from the time he was 13 till basically up to now, he didn't realize that what he was doing was wrong. Now we need to keep this in mind too. So far we got 2 things in mind. We got that this nigga's mama was not on crack, and we got that this nigga did not know what he was doing was wrong basically ever. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, going back and forth to this nigga house, and he never realized that it was wrong. That's what he just said. Now keep all that in mind, and let's continue.
It been hit me from the first time.
Okay.
But at the same time, it was like going back home with Mom Dukes was crazy too.
Okay.
So here he says going home was crazy. He stayed with Bambaataa because his mama was so crazy. Apparently, this nigga's mama was so crazy that instead of spending time with her at home, he would go off to Africa Bambaataa's house where this nigga Africa Bambaataa would allegedly molest him and molest him for years. He chose that over spending time with his mama. Keep in mind, his mama was not on crack. He just said his mama was not on crack, but he didn't want to deal with that. He would rather go spend time with Africa Bambaataa and Zulu Nation. Now, let's continue.
Not to say my moms was a bad moms, we just wasn't getting along. Pops wasn't there. You know, I was getting my ass whooped for every goddamn thing.
So there it is again. He says his mom was not a bad mother. He said his dad wasn't around and he was getting a lot of whoopings. He was getting his ass whooped. And I'm sure we can all relate. Growing up in a bad city, you're likely to have bad friends and you're likely to get your ass whooped a lot. Especially if you have a good mother, a caring mother. She's gonna whoop your ass a lot. She is trying to keep you in order. And we have to look at this. Poppy is a murderer. He has killed niggas, y'all. So maybe his mama should have gave him more ass whoopings. Maybe he should have stayed with his mama. Was your mama worse than Afrika Bambaataa, an alleged child molester? Apparently to Poppy, Bambaataa was better. Now I have to think that maybe if this nigga would have chosen to not go to Afrika Bambaataa and stay and spend time with his mother, maybe he would not have grown up to be a killer and maybe he wouldn't have gotten molested those times. I mean, you grew up to kill niggas. Maybe your mama wasn't so bad. Maybe she was trying to straighten you out. Now, let's continue.
Ass whooped for every goddamn thing. So in some cases, Bam was an outlet, but not an outlet at the same time. Like, damn. So once you get over the monster in the bedroom with him, which is really, really bad, it's like, all right.
I'm just gonna stop it right here and say, how do you get over something like that? That's just my opinion. How do you get over that? What do you mean once you get over that? You don't get over it, you get away from the nigga. Now, let's continue.
Really bad, it's like, all right. Now I get to be around some of my heroes like B.O.
Now, do y'all see that right there? This nigga basically just admitted to selling his soul. He wanted to be around Bambaataa so he could be around his idols. And we do have to acknowledge that there are teenagers out here that are selling themselves for money, selling their souls to join the entertainment industry to chill out with these big famous rap stars. Apparently, this nigga, Poppy, wanted to do that. So this is definitely not your average molestation situation. Yet, Poppy always likes to act like his situation is the same as any other victims. No, this situation is entirely different. You straight up sold your soul to be around KRS-One and whoever else. Now, let's continue.
Some of my heroes like B.O. Like in the Zulu Nation, you had dudes that was legendary that you looked up to and you just wanted to be around those brothers. So it wasn't just all about Bam too. You want to be amongst the family, because the truth of the matter is like, ain't nobody really all happy to be sitting amongst Bam, because you know once Bam gets you alone, you know the boogeyman gonna come out.
So reason why I'm asking you these things, because for the education for the children that might see this, like, you know, sometimes they are being victimized and they don't even realize they're being victimized. They just like think it starts to become normal. I've had a female that I'm not gonna say her name. She told me the shit was normal to her, like it was routine, and then it took her to be an adult to realize that shit was wrong. He wasn't supposed to be doing that. You know what I'm saying?
For me, it was always despicable.
So here he says that shit was always despicable, but just earlier he said that he didn't see nothing wrong with it the whole time it was happening. He said he always assumed it to be normal.
My question was, when did you realize this shit ain't normal? Like, I ain't supposed to be coming here no more. Like, when did that hit you?
Honestly speaking, it been hit me from the first time.
Okay.
So you see how he plays whatever part he wants to play that will give him the most dramatic emotion, guilt feelings, the most sympathy. Now y'all see this, right? Y'all see that I'm not just being mean to the nigga. I'm just honestly curious. I'm like, what the fuck? This don't make sense. First he was saying he didn't know if it was wrong. He didn't know. He didn't know. Now he's saying he always knew it was despicable. So now we have to reevaluate this. He was going back to this nigga's house doing this despicable shit instead of spending time with his mother. He said his mother was beating his ass, so I guess he'd rather go over to this despicable ass nigga's house. That's what he said. He said the things he was doing was despicable, right? So we have to look at this. We have to look at this through our eyes. Let's imagine this now. He is 13 years old. His mama is not on crack. He already said that. His mom is not on crack. He said everybody else's mamas was on crack, but not his mama. That means that he was growing up in a bad environment, and I guess his mama was trying to keep him straight. That's why him and his mama had so many problems. And then at 13 years old, somehow this nigga is able to walk back and forth to another nigga house. Maybe his mama was beating his ass every time he went home because she was like, where you been at? Just like any other mama should. And then I guess he began to stay more and more at Afrika Bambaataa's house. He ended up joining Afrika Bambaataa's nation, Zulu Nation. Now he is consistently dry snitching on these niggas, talking about how they were killers. So it seems like he went and joined a gang. They were killing niggas. They were doing homosexual shit. They were doing pedophilia shit. It sounds like he straight up joined the Illuminati. And maybe his mama was beating his ass because she didn't want him to go down that path. I mean, the nigga consistently says that he had a good mama. His mama was good, and she was whooping his ass a lot. The daddy wasn't around, so that's what she was supposed to be doing. Now, we gotta keep in mind, earlier he said that he never realized none of that shit was wrong. Now, all of a sudden, it's despicable. This nigga is using whatever words best fit his narrative. If he has to be hard and tough one minute, then he will be hard and tough. If he has to be soft, emotional, and sympathetic, then he will be soft, emotional, and sympathetic. So, keep all this in mind as we continue. Now, continue.
Even like sometimes now, I could be having sex with wifey or whatever the case may be, and then go all the way limp, and she'd be like, yo, that's because you fucking with all them other bitches. And I'd be like, nah, I just had a nasty fucking thought that went through my mind, a flashback, and it just turns you all the way off. Like, even to the point to where that you so young of a little boy, you can remember the feeling of this man's mustache on your fucking pelvic area. Like,
damn.
Sick. You see what I'm saying? It's disturbing. But, you know, the one thing that the youth has to be careful of, or parents have to be careful of when you're dealing with somebody, when you see a basketball coach, when you see, let's say, basketball coach or pastor or a dude or artist like
Boy Scouts, definitely.
Boy Scouts or artists like Bambaataa, that you never, now it's been 5 years, 10 years past, you never see this man with a woman, something is wrong. If you see a man that's dealing with boys and there's no woman around, understand the woman is your kid. And it's real. It always turns out to be like that. And see, what people don't understand, the majority of the time when a young boy get molested, he never comes to the forefront and tell. That is the hardest thing to actually tell.
You think it's harder for boys than it is for girls?
It's impossible to tell.
Yeah.
People sit up there and they say, yo, what took you so long to come forward? Like dogs. Name one dude that ever got raped in jail and came home and told somebody he got raped.
Yeah.
So now he is comparing children getting molested to grown-ass men in jail getting raped. He wants us to believe that somehow those two situations correlate. If you're a young boy, then of course you're gonna tell. If you're a grown-ass man in prison and you got raped, then of course you're gonna keep your mouth shut about it. These are two different minds, two different situations. A little bitty boy getting molested at 13, you should tell. A grown-ass man getting raped in prison, well, who cares? We don't want to hear about that shit. That's what happens in jail. So here he is again, trying to paint a certain narrative using certain words, certain situations that don't exactly apply to him. I mean, we already know niggas get raped in jail. That's just something that happens when they're in there. Of course they wouldn't come home cheesing about it, but a little boy getting molested by a grown-ass man, that's a completely different story, and that needs to be told. That story should be coming out. So just keep all this shit in the back of your mind as we continue.
Yeah.
Name one dude. Plenty of dudes done got raped in jail.
Yeah.
But name somebody that came home and said, yo, them niggas got me in the shower, boy. How do you say that? And then when you somebody like me that have a reputation like me, you gonna see bloggers talking shit, nigga. Well, if you was all that, why you ain't pop that nigga top? Truth of the matter is, and I got an answer for that too. For one, Duke was like a father to me.
Okay.
And it makes me sick when I see people blogging, talking about, oh, he probably gay. Nah, I'm not gay. And if you said that to me, we would definitely have a problem. I'm not gay. I love women. I have children. I'm a father. That's first off. Second off, you know, like I said before in one of my other videos, when you addressing these situations in the comments, there's kids that want to come forward. But when they reading these statements, y'all being too hard. Now
you're deterring them, yeah.
Now here Poppy is again, changing the narrative, changing the situation. This nigga Poppy's situation is not your average situation. Your average victim does not go to the abuser's house. Usually the victim is a kid, and the kid is usually forced to go to another person's house. Usually the mama drops the kid off at some type of daycare service, and then that's where the molestation happens. Usually the kid doesn't get up and walk to the abuser's house. This nigga situation is entirely different. Please do not confuse the two. This nigga looks like he sold his soul to be a part of Zulu Nation. This nigga is trying to blend in with your average child molest victim. This nigga is trying to cover himself in the sympathy that we give to other young kids that have been molested, but keep in mind, this nigga's situation is entirely different. Now, let's continue.
Now
you're deterring them, yeah.
You basically telling them, oh, whoa, I'm gonna have to go through this hot...
The scrutiny, yeah, they don't want to deal with that scrutiny.
Now, y'all, this is just an FYI, but y'all do need to tell when something happens. It wouldn't be right if I didn't remind y'all to do that in this video. When you hold something back, it will always look more suspicious when you do bring it forward. That is part of the reason why Poppy looks so suspicious. Now, let's continue.
But you putting them through, like, a lot of our community is at war with pedophiles.
Yes.
3 out of 5 girls is molested in our community, but you're not never hearing the stories.
Yeah.
So for all of the people that sit up there talking about if that would have happened to me, it happened to your sister, it happened to your mother. What did you do?
Now, of course, that is a deflection. Nigga, it did not happen to my sister. It did not happen to my mother. Nigga, it happened to you. And what did you do? It seems like you went back to the nigga house. Now, again, I'm not bullying or no shit like that. We're just looking at the facts. He is trying to switch this around, deflect, and ask us a question. Ask us what would we do? Nigga, it didn't happen to us. It happened to you. Now, nigga, since you asking, I will answer your question. If the shit would have happened to me, I would have straight up went home and told my mama. If I'm a young boy and I go over to some nigga's house and he touches me, well, I'm gonna go home and tell my mama. Especially if I'm not old enough to handle myself. And by the way, that's another thing. How are you at this nigga's house? Your mama had all the right to be beating your ass. You 13 and you hanging around with Zulu Nation and you yourself be dry snitching, calling them criminals, killers. Your mama had all the right to be beating your ass. You should have been listening to her. I mean, I don't know the full story. I can't say for sure. But from what it seems, you should have been listening to your goddamn mama. Maybe she was whooping your ass for a reason. Nigga, you grew up to be a killer. So, this nigga is consistently trying to change the narrative, but at the end of the day, he ends up dry snitching on himself. So, let's continue.
Now, the biggest thing right now is KRS-One. You addressed him the other day. When you first heard his comments, how did you hear his comments?
When I first, people was tagging it to me on Facebook.
Okay.
And the first time when he came out, I was like, all right, he done lost his noodles.
Yeah.
But then for him to come out again and say, like, dogs, when you said to Bam, and first and foremost, let me say right now, I've been outside KRS-One house. I've been backstage with the dude and did shows with him a couple of times in 9-9 with Truck Turn and iGuard. I met him through them, so he probably don't even remember. I've been around him.
Now, I have to remind y'all about this. The nigga has met KRS-One and all of these famous pop stars because he sold his soul to Afrika Bambaataa. As he said, he went ahead and did some pedophilia type shit with Afrika Bambaataa so he could be down with the group and meet some of his biggest idols. So that's just a reminder. This nigga is pretty much Illuminati confirmed. Now, let's continue.
Looked up to the dude. He was like an icon, a heroic figure to me. Legendary.
Yeah.
He used to be my favorite rapper.
Yeah.
So for him to say that, it was like, yo, he hit me with he emptied a clip in me.
Wow.
So I listened to him. Now, you know, all right, I'm past that now. My whole thing is, what did you mean when you told Bam to handle your business? Because I took that some type of way. Like, what you mean handle? How he's going to handle his business? In what way is he supposed to handle his business? Because as far as I remember, if you want to get down to talking about handling business, you ain't do nothing about when Scott LaRock got killed, homie. Duke that aired him out still running around. You ain't do nothing.
Alright, so now y'all see how he basically put KRS-One on blast for basically the same shit he is doing now. I'm sure y'all have seen Poppy, Hassan Campbell, threaten a few niggas, a lot of niggas. I got some screenshots of him threatening to kill Sa Neter. He didn't threaten Israel Doctrine, he didn't threaten a couple people. Meanwhile, Afrika Bambaataa is still roaming around out there. He said Tawfiq set him up, Tawfiq wanted to kill him, that's what he said. Meanwhile, he threatening everybody but Tawfiq. So that's just something else we can add to the puzzle. Now let's continue.
You ain't do nothing. So if we're going to get down to handling business, I think you want to handle that business.
Wow. So, all right. Another thing I wanted to address with KRS-One. He said he hasn't been brought up on charges. There's a statute of limitation, right or wrong?
Yes, there is.
So could you explain that to people? Because he said he hasn't been brought up on charges. And if you got a problem with him, quit hip hop.
See, here's my thing right here. First and foremost, my intentions was never to lock Bam up. And I'll say it again. If I wanted Bam to go to jail, I've been around for a long time. This shit that we all have done that don't have no statute of limitation, and I'll leave it as that. You see what I'm saying? So if I wanted Bam to go to jail, Bam would be in jail. The reason why, when they labeled me as a rat, they put me out there as a counter pro.
Yeah.
Then they sent the open letter to everybody taking that statement back. You know why they took that statement back?
Why is that?
Because I told them, y'all got 24 hours to take that statement back, or certain events that I got locked up for that I'm convicted of, others they get convicted of. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now if you're going to label me to be a rat and everybody going to look at me like,
might as well go all the
then
way
I
in.
might as well go all the way in and wear my title with honor.
Because I'm not a rat.
Because I'm not a rat.
Yeah.
Now that was just very confusing, so he's not a rat, but he is willing to be a rat. How does being a rat prove your honor? I don't understand. And we have to take into account the nigga already ratted on Africa Bambaataa, as well as dry snitching on basically all of Zulu Nation. So yes, nigga, you already are a rat. Now, I'm not bullying, I'm not making fun of him, I'm just looking at the facts, alright? We're not laughing here. We're looking at this person who has come to us asking for money, and we're observing their character. Now, let me try and word this correctly. If the nigga would have told on Africa Bambaataa to begin with, then it wouldn't have been like a rat. But the fact that he didn't come out with it, he held on to it, he hung out with all of his idols, he even began making money with them, using that situation to make money, well, in my opinion, that is very ratatouille. Now, let's continue.
I'm not a rat,
Yeah.
but if you're going to label it, and then this is coming from some of my own family members now, that's down, like Zulu, this is my family, it ain't just Bam. See, Bam is going to play the slick role. When I see Bam, brother, I didn't have nothing to do with it. I was gone. I kept quiet. Now notice, Bam has never mentioned my name in any interview that's being done with him. They avoid me. They never want to mention my name. Not only that, but if you really look at the media, everybody thinks that Ron Savage was the first one that came out on Bam. That's bullshit.
You came out years ago and
I
pulled the video,
came out a year ahead of time.
Now, did you all hear that? A year ahead of time. I didn't know there was a schedule. So Poppy, Hassan Campbell, came out a year ahead of the schedule. Was there a planned time that y'all were supposed to come out on Africa Bambaataa and then you fucked up and came out a year early? Is that kind of what you're saying? You did say a schedule. Maybe this is nothing, but that is what you said. Now, continue.
Ahead of time. The reason why I pulled my video down was because Muhammad Islam, he started the Zulu Warriors.
Okay.
And I actually was working with the Zulu Warriors, and we were supplying jobs for a lot of brothers. So when I put Bam on blast like that, a lot of contracts got messed up. And Muhammad was doing Muhammad and Noel, they was doing some great work. And I'm working with them. We on the front line, you know, making money.
Yeah.
Like some of our jobs, we pretty much had like 120 people out there. So when my brother Muhammad called me on the phone, he was like, yo, dogs, this is killing me now. He called for the meeting. We had the meeting with Bam. Bam admitted in front of Muhammad, Doc, Jerry, Ahmed, Pepsi, you know, all of us, what happened. He cried. He said he was going to do something for the youth. He said he was going to retire. And he said he was going to, one of the requirements that I asked him for was to put a tombstone on B.O.'s grave because he didn't have one.
Wow.
He said he would do all of that. And I left it as that. So now when Ron Savage newspaper article popped up and my video popped back up at the same time, I was actually angry because the truth of the matter is the humiliation of putting out there that I got touched by a man. I wanted to get away from it.
Yeah.
I just wanted people to forget. My legacy and who I want to be remembered as is not somebody that was molested by Bambaataa.
Now here, he is directly contradicting what he said earlier. The nigga said we need to be careful with our words. We don't want to influence the youth not to come forward. But here, the nigga is saying he doesn't want to deal with this, that this isn't something he wants to deal with. Yet earlier, the nigga was basically saying don't say nothing that might get kids not to want to come forward. Now, continue.
I want to be remembered as is not somebody that was molested by Bambaataa.
Yeah. So right now, what do you want your legacy to be remembered as? Because you write your own history. If not, somebody is going to write it for you. If 40 years from now, when they say Poppy, what should they say about you?
For one, I don't want to be remembered as Baby B.O. That is my mentor. That is my idol. You know, but I don't want to be remembered as him because what he wanted for me was greater than the way he died and the way I lived my life.
Okay.
My reputation as far as me being the street dude or whatever the case may be, when I'm remembered and you speak of me, remember me as somebody that loves the kids and that's a father. The number one thing that I want to be called is a father.
Okay.
This is what I live for, being a father.
Alright, now y'all just heard him. He wants to be remembered as a father. Keep in mind all of the shit he has told us. Alright, keep all that shit in mind. And he wants us to remember him as a father. He has killed niggas. He has knowingly worked with alleged child molesters. And then he already has a son whom he is father to. I'll let him speak on his son in his own words.
I get a phone call. And my brother was telling me, like, you know, I want to send you something, but I don't know if you're ready for it. So I'm like, just go ahead. I can take anything. He sends me a picture mail. I'm looking at a picture. 2 females in the picture. Like, all right, my baby mother, but who's this chick? Turns out the little chick with the big titties was my son.
Alright, now y'all see all this shit, right? This nigga has killed people. He knows damn well he worked with child molesters. All of this, and he wants us to remember him as a father. Now, let's continue.
Live for being a father. Outside of that, I don't care what you have to say. Just label me as a dad. And if you're going to remember me for this situation with Bam, I want people to understand something. People sitting up there saying, oh, I was trying to get money out of Bam. If I wanted something for Bam, if I needed something from Bam, he would give it to me. Even after the situation that happened with the meeting, we had the meeting, I wasn't feeling too good or whatever the case may be, he sent me some herbs. I had to take one of my dogs to the vet, emergency operation. He Western you me some money.
Okay, so I just need y'all to keep in mind that this nigga Poppy is in contact with Afrika Bambaataa, and Afrika Bambaataa is sending this nigga money, alright? And Afrika Bambaataa is a millionaire. Now, let's continue. Just keep that in the back of your head. Let's continue.
He Western you me some money. Anything that I ever needed from Bam, see, don't get it messed up. Bam is a serial predator. But at the same time, if I knew that Bam wasn't doing this stuff no more, I would have kept my secret and wished the best for Bam, because at the end of the day, the man was still like a father to me.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to tell the world their mother or their father is a predator.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
man
yeah.
is like my pops.
Yeah.
My pops wasn't around. I know who my pops is. I rock with my pops, but that dude was my pops.
Now, right here, he is saying Afrika Bambaataa is his father. He is his pops. Now, that's gonna come in handy later. Put that in your back pocket. Keep that shit in mind. He said Afrika Bambaataa is his father. Now, let's continue.
Dude was my pops.
Unfortunately. KRS-One, we got to go back to him. If you could look into this camera, because he's going to see this, what do you want to say directly to him? Besides what you said about the Scott LaRock thing, that was kind of crazy. What do you need him to know from you?
What I need him to, I mean, honestly speaking, what I have to say to KRS-One is like this. Everything that I thought he was as a person, he's the total opposite. But I'm realizing it's about the music industry, period. It's just not him. The fact that everybody in the music industry is so quiet about this topic is crazy to me. Here it is. You got the hip hop pioneer and everybody's so quiet. As far as KRS-One goes, I feel personally like he needs to commit suicide. People like him should never have any more kids. And as a matter of fact, you know, when a dog has rabies or when a dog bites a human being, sometimes they'll put the dog down, and any litter that came off the dog, they'll put that down too, unless you raising a dog to bite. Because you don't want people biters.
Yeah.
So with KRS, I personally feel like KRS-One need to be put down, him and his children, because you foul. And the seeds that you breeding is foul.
So here, this nigga just said that not only KRS-One deserves to die, but all of his kids as well. Now, first of all, let me just say that that is wrong. Nobody's kids deserve to die because of what their father did. Second of all, this nigga just claimed Afrika Bambaataa as his father, making Poppy his seed. Hassan Campbell would be Afrika Bambaataa's seed. The nigga just said his real daddy is not his daddy. He wasn't there for him. It was Afrika Bambaataa that was there for him, and Afrika Bambaataa basically raised him, a father figure in his life. Now, this nigga is constantly calling Afrika Bambaataa foul, disgusting, and all those other words. Now, if Afrika Bambaataa is foul, and he raised you, and you just said because KRS-One is foul, that all his kids should die, then nigga, doesn't that mean you should die as well? And that's out of your own mouth, because you are who said this. You said that since KRS-One is foul, all of his kids deserve to die. But nigga, you yourself say Afrika Bambaataa is foul.
Because Bam is a dirty dick whore ass nigga that runs around and fuck every other person or every other child that he can. That man touched more little boys than the Catholic Church. He's wicked.
Yeah,
the man is like my pops.
Yeah.
My pops wasn't around. I know who my pops is. I rock with my pops, but that dude was my pops.
And you yourself claim to be his son. So what the fuck are you even saying? Do you not realize that you have killed people? I wonder if any of KRS-One's kids have killed anyone, because Africa Bambaata's kid killed somebody. So y'all heard it out his own mouth. He said that shit. I didn't say it. He said it. Now, let's continue.
Because you don't want people biters.
Yeah.
So with KRS, I personally feel like KRS-One need to be put down, him and his children, because you foul. And the seeds that you breeding is foul. Anytime that you can sit up there and say, first and foremost, no disrespect, but hip-hop is already dead. And see, Bam could sit up there and save himself. If KRS-One was a real man, what he would do is, he would tell Bam, you know what? Let's step up to the plate. Let's fix this. Let's solve this. Let's be a man about it. Let's answer to what was done, and we can move forward. And we can heal you, and we can heal the youth. Because that's what I really wanted for Bam. Everybody's calling on the phone, and that's another thing that I'm not feeling too. Quit with the post that's being posted up on Facebook with all the, oh, Bam, he won't answer our call. How could you do this to us? Like, stop it. Why would you really want to talk to him when half of y'all got molested by him too? What are you looking for? Him to put his dick in your mouth?
Now here he is saying, what are y'all calling out to Bam for? He molested you niggas. Yet, the nigga just said, Bam sent him flowers, Bam sent him money. So it's not okay for your own friends to call out to Bam and love Bam and all that shit. But when you call Bam a father figure, you get money from Bam to fix up your dog. But for some reason, when other people do it, they dick sucking and all that shit. Very, very strange, and let's continue.
Is that what you looking for? What are you looking for Bam? Some closure, some relationship closure? I'm seeing dudes that was molested by Bam. Why y'all screaming out for him? Wow. It's off with his head.
Now here, the nigga just said it's off with his head, but earlier, the nigga didn't even want to put him in jail. At one moment, it's off with his head, and then the next moment, he's sending you money to help your goddamn dog. He's your father figure, and he's a really kind person. Very, very flip-floppy, and I guess this could be a reflection of what happens to child molest victims. That could be what we can chalk this up to be. I mean, clearly, this nigga has something wrong with him. I would definitely recommend him get psychological help. Like I said, this is not a bashing video. This is a learning experience, so we're using this to learn, and we can definitely learn a lot, given this situation and given how this nigga is presenting himself. Now, let's continue.
Wow. It's off with his head. Let's do the math. Analyze this. I flipped on Bam because I could not take the stories of hearing the rumors of him continue on doing what he was doing. And after I seen the picture of that young boy, and then they told me about the kid in Brazil, I wanted to come forward. It was the hardest thing in the world for me to do, to say what I said. It was the hardest thing in the world for me to do. So for me to have went through all of the pain that I've went through, and KRS-One could be so inconsiderate. Do you know what it's like to be molested? Or did you like being molested? I mean, I no disrespect to him when I say...
Now, this nigga just asked KRS-One if he liked to be molested. Keep in mind, this nigga Hassan Campbell went back and forth from Bam house from the time he was 13 to the time he was 18. How do you even fix your mouth to make an insult like that given your history? And if this nigga KRS-One was molested at a young age, why is it okay for Poppy to insult a child molest victim, but it's not okay for us to question him? Very suspicious behavior. Now, I want y'all to store that into your memory banks, and let's continue.
I mean, no disrespect to him when I say I've been hearing stories about him and Scott LaRock being in a relationship. I don't know if it's true or not, but maybe being a homosexual, you feel like it's okay for grown men to sleep with little boys. Because outside of that, I've never seen a father that would be so insensitive towards somebody that was molested. Somebody can you please, like, I mean, if I can't make him understand, maybe somebody else should. But then again, who we fooling? This is the teacher here, Blastmaster, KRS-One.
Let me ask you something. We could close out with this. We did the press conference. Great thing. A lot of us stood up against child molestation. We stood together as a community. Different walks of life. You had Hebrews with the Moors, with the RBG, with Islam, with regular street niggas like me and shit. Was you surprised or was you disappointed that more rappers wasn't there saying, yo, this is fucked up?
Honestly speaking, when I got there, I was overwhelmed. I was teary-eyed. I was an emotional wreck because that was the day that they made Bam step down.
So now we see Bam ended up stepping down. Now, This makes me wonder, what did Poppy want? Because even after Bam steps down, Poppy continues to rage war against Zulu Nation. Now, let's continue.
The day that they made Bam step down, but I was mad at them because I'm like, they saying they got to look further into investigation. And the same people that said that was the same people that was in the room when Bam confessed.
Wow.
Oh, Bam, he won't answer our call. How could you do this to us? Like, stop it. Why would you really want to talk to him when half of y'all got molested by him too? What are you looking for? Him to put his dick in your mouth? Is that what you looking for? What are you looking for Bam? Some closure? Some relationship closure? I'm seeing dudes that was molested by Bam. Why y'all screaming out for him?
Now, we have to keep in mind, the nigga just said earlier that he stopped coming hard on Zulu Nation because he didn't want them all to go down the drain. Isn't that why Bam apologized in the first place, to put an end to all of that shit? Poppy already said he wasn't going to take Bam to court. The nigga Poppy basically said that he was going to stop because he didn't want them to lose too much money. Bam apologized, he stepped down, yet Hassan is still calling out his name. Now, let's continue.
When Bam confessed.
Wow.
But later on, one of my other brothers told me, he was like, listen, you putting everybody's back against the wall. Some of us got stuff that there's no statute of limitation on that Bam knows. And if this stuff come out, you putting everybody in jail because Bam is going to break, because he's not going to want to spend the rest of his life in jail, and he's going to start singing. So after a while, I start to understand, like, you know what, I can't be so selfish because he's right. Bam decide to start singing, you have about 500 people in jail with him. And obviously, Bam might do nice things here and there, but I can't really see the things that you do as nice things. Like, for example, you're always going to find somebody homeless laying on Bam's couch.
Alright, here we need to keep in mind that Poppy had a home. From what Poppy has told us, he was not homeless. He only went to Bambaataa so he could be around his idols, so he could sell his soul and join in with the big stars. I just wanted to remind y'all on that. Now let's continue.
On Bam's couch. And it's going to be an underage kid or somebody that's 15, 14, which is underage.
Yeah.
And then they're going to make their way to Bam's bedroom.
So there it is. We see what type of pedophile supposedly Bam was, or is. He would get them and then he would lure them to his back room with money and basically possessions. A life in the famous world. Again, this kind of confirms the selling your soul theory. These niggas were selling their souls. It don't seem like Bam was kidnapping nobody. They all had a choice. It seems Bam would lure these kids in, these 13, 14, 15 teenager kids in, and bribe them with possessions. Very similar to that kid that say he sucked Birdman's dick to get a record deal.
Anyway, yeah, I was on Media Takeout on World Star and shit. Yeah, Birdman fucked me. He fucked me in the ass for the deal. I'm gonna be real. Birdman fucked me for the deal, man. I suck Birdman dick. Rich gang. This shit on my...
Now, let's continue.
Way to Bam's bedroom. This is why I say, when people say that, oh, Bam ain't never tried me because he thought she was ugly.
All right. This last question, definitely. If he came out tomorrow and said, listen, I'm gay and I did molest Poppy, I did molest Savage, and I'm sorry and I need help, would that be good enough for you?
It would be. And at the end of the day, I will leave this alone with him, but I would still continue on and urge every kid, and this is what I say to all the youth out there looking, even if you 25 or you 20 years old, if somebody molested you out there, put the person on blast. We can't let people continue. Most people that's molested go on to molest. When I was a kid, I was being touched so much, I started touching other little kids too.
Now y'all heard what he said. People who touch get touched. And this nigga has been touched. So I do advise all y'all to be careful with this nigga around your kids if that's what y'all trying to do. Who knows? I'm not sure if he's gotten any psychological help. He does seem to need it. But whatever, let's continue.
Not as a grown man, but as a kid too. People who touch, they touch. So first and foremost, if you've been through what I've been through, we all need to go get some help. Number one. Number two, if you've been through what I've been through, put them on blast. Stop letting your uncle, your stepfather, even your father run around and still live, because after they done with you and now you grown, they looking at your kids, grandkids, they continue on. It does not stop until somebody stop them. So I'm telling all of you, come forward, put them on blast, and never stand beside or stand behind anybody who feel like it's cool to touch a kid, even KRS-One.
So that's it. That's the end. And just to clean up and clarify some things, I'm calling a scam alert on Poppy because he began asking the community for money, even though he said a year ago he had cars, properties, houses, and businesses and all that shit.
I haven't got a payday or for none of this shit. Wasn't looking for none. I got property. I got cars. I got houses. I got co-ops. I have all that. I'm all right. I'm not looking for a payday. I will be setting up a GoFundMe. Whatever you donate, please donate. I may have to move. I may need money for lawyers. I need you people to support me.
I thought something was shady about it, so I went ahead and called a goddamn scam alert. The nigga got mad at me. I responded with a video. I offended him. I do apologize. I went too hard on the pedo situation. I shouldn't have bullied him in the manner that I did. So I'm coming back now doing this video to help y'all understand better where I am coming from. The only thing I had a problem with was the fact that he was asking the conscious community for money. He just said he was rich. I was like, why are you asking the community for money? And keep this in mind, the nigga just said Africa Bambaataa, this millionaire, gave him some money for his dog.
If I wanted something for Bam, if I needed something from Bam, he would give it to me. Even after the situation that happened with the meeting, we had the meeting, I wasn't feeling too good or whatever the case may be, he sent me some herbs. I had to take one of my dogs to the vet, emergency operation. He Western Union me some money.
He said whenever he wants something, all he has to do is ask Africa Bambaataa. And keep in mind, he does already know that the conscious community is very, very poor.
Most of the people that's donating to y'all don't have nothing. Only 1% of the population is rich. So you taking from people that's living in poverty and sucking them dry. You taking from people that's living in poverty and you sucking them dry.
So, using simple logic, why not just ask Africa Bambaataa for money? You did say he would give it to you. Why are you asking the poor black conscious community for money? All of this shit is very, very shady. Now, that's about it. This is just my opinion. Again, I hope I didn't offend nobody. If I did, let me apologize beforehand and let you know that that was not my intention. I'm only trying to get the truth out of this situation. This nigga is asking us for money. I have all the right to question him and what he has done for the world thus far. Now, that's about all. I hope y'all have learned something from this video. Y'all have a great day, and till next time, peace the fuck out.